Denis Villeneuve, the director, that dude is on like a historically good movie run. If you look at his IMDb over the past few years, just tremendous. So you had Dune in 2021, and then in 2017 you had Blade Runner 2049, which is a really good movie. He had Arrival in 2016, which is a really good movie. He had Sicario in 2015, which is a really good movie. So his last few movies have been all good to great. I thought Dune Part 1 was spectacular. I thought it was fantastic. And now he's dropped the trailer for Dune Part 2. I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it.
Imagine water. If you dive in, you can't reach the bottom.
You dive in.
Yes, it's called swimming.
I don't believe you.
In the shadows of Arrakis lie many secrets. But the darkest of them
It's such a
all
great
may
looking
remain.
film. Florence Pugh. Look at the cast on this film, by the way.
The end of
It's a hell of a cast.
Your father didn't believe in revenge.
Nothing fancy.
I understand. Nothing fancy.
There are very few films that are made now that demand to be seen on the big screen. This is definitely going to be one of them. Javier Bardem and Austin Butler is the villain, I believe. Now, honestly, the weak link in this film is going to be Timothy Chalamet. I do not understand. I honest to God do not understand the Timothy Chalamet of it. I don't understand why that guy's in like every movie, but the rest of the cast is spectacular. That was the biggest problem with Dune 1 is that everyone is great except for Timothy Chalamet. But I mean, come on, this looks great, right? So when I get excited about a movie, that's a fun thing.
I'm excited, you're excited.
That movie comes out November 3rd, so that's going to be a bit of a wait, but it looks great. It looks just spectacular. Let's talk about a simple fact. There's no such thing as vacation when you have a full-time job. Even when you go on vacation, you need access to your phone to make sure that everything at the office is still going well, everything is fine. Well, this is why I rely on Pure Talk. So you don't need to sign one of those crappy wireless company contracts out there. You don't need to do that. They lock you into these crazy contracts. And you try to get out of those contracts early, they tack on radically large charges. You don't need that in this economic climate. Instead, make the switch to Pure Talk the way that I did. They have no hidden fees, no contracts, no hassle. Pure Talk has a range of affordable cell phone plans to choose from. You can find the perfect option for your needs, like unlimited talk, text, plenty of data for just $30 a month. Pure Talk saves the average family over $900 per year. Think about what you could do with that money. Plus, you don't get cheap, inconsistent service. With Pure Talk, you get the same coverage you're used to at half the rate you're currently paying. I use Pure Talk. Their 5G service is really, really fast. All my business calls are made via Pure Talk. Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team helped me make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. As you've been able to keep my phone number. Do the same. Head on over to puretalk.com. Enter promo code Shapiro. Save 50% off your very first month of coverage. That's puretalk.com. Promo code Shapiro. Pure Talk is simply smarter wireless. Now, I need my sleep quality. Okay, and the only way I get a good night's sleep, because, again, got my kids, they keep me up at night. My wife tends to want me to go to bed later than I actually want to go to bed, and then I have to wake up earlier because of the kids. This means when I'm on the mattress, I better be asleep, and this is why I rely on my Helix sleep mattress. They have now launched their most high-end collection, Helix Elite. Helix has harnessed years of extensive mattress expertise to bring their customers a truly elevated sleep experience. The Helix Elite collection includes 6 different mattress models, each tailored for specific sleep positions and firmness preferences. I've had my Helix sleep mattress for, 7, 8 years at this point. And it is excellent. If you're nervous about buying a mattress online, you don't have to be, because they have a sleep quiz that matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. Why would you buy a mattress made for somebody else? You wouldn't order coffee that you like the generic, you get a special order. A thing that you spend 8 hours a night on should similarly be made just for you. I took the Helix quiz. I was matched with a firm but breathable mattress, which is what I need. But you don't need my type of mattress. You need your type of mattress. So go do the same thing. Helix is offering up to 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. This is their best offer yet. Hurry on over to helixsleep.com/Ben with Helix. Better sleep starts right now. So this is going to be the new George Floyd story. Is a white Marine took down a homeless black man, and that homeless black man was, of course, totally innocent, had done nothing wrong. This was just a white on black crime, right? That's the way the media are going to play this. And you can already see the narrative starting to form in real time, because the media are not spending an enormous amount of time reporting on the arrest record and activities of Jordan Neely. Instead, what you are seeing is left-wing activists trotting out video of him impersonating Michael Jackson on the subway. So, for example, the Working Family Party of New York, which is a far-left group in New York, they were putting out videos of Jordan Neely dancing as Michael Jackson on the subway. Well, if you were dancing as Michael Jackson on the subway, nobody would have been choking him out, obviously. It's that he was threatening people on the subway and acting more and more psychotic on the subway. That is the reason that he was put in a submission hold in the first place. But that's not what you're going to be told. Okay, here he is doing a Michael Jackson routine. And the New York Working Families Party tweeted out, Jordan Neely loved to dance and perform. On Tuesday, while suffering a mental health crisis, he was choked to death while people watched and cheered. So first of all, it's not true. There's no one in the tape who is cheering. People are trying to subdue him, and then he dies. Jordan needed care. Instead, he was brutally murdered. This is not who we are as New Yorkers. No, as New Yorkers, you are citizens of a city that will not protect you, which necessitates that civilians step in and actually do the protection. And the entire left wing activated. I mean, it was left wing Power Rangers to activate here. So, for example, you had Toure, who literally at one point, I believe earlier in his career, called broccoli racist. He tweeted out, "A homeless man yelling on the New York City subway is normal." We see that all the time. What's not normal is for a Marine to sneak up behind him, put him in a chokehold, and unalive him. That's not justified. The Marine could have just done nothing. He should be charged. First of all, I do love the notion that in New York City, it is perfectly normal for homeless people to just yell at you on the subway. That aggressive, like if you're a citizen of New York, you should just take it for granted that you're going to be assaulted on the subway. That's an amazing statement about New York City. Tariq Nasheed, who again is a group of people who are looking for some summer riots here. An innocent black man with a history of mental illness named Jordan Neely was brutally choked and murdered by a suspected white supremacist who the police refused to charge and the white media is protecting. Question, any evidence that this is a person who is a white supremacist at all from Tariq Nasheed? We don't even know the guy's name. What is the evidence here? This culture of anti-black racism where suspected white supremacists are allowed to live out their Bernhard Goetz, Charles Bronson death wish fantasies of murdering black people with impunity will not be tolerated. So it's not just, the professional racial agitators. It is also actual public officials who are sounding off on this. So Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, who is just an egregious specimen of insipidity, nincompoopism. She's a deeply stupid person.
AOC, my favorite big booty Latina. I love you, AOC. You're my favorite.
I think that she's both stupid and malicious, which is a hard combination to do. I very often say when it comes to politics that I try to attribute most things to stupidity rather than malice, but she's both stupid and malicious. So she tweeted out, Jordan Neely was murdered. But because Jordan was houseless is the new euphemism. New euphemism just dropped, houseless. So we went from hobo to homeless to houseless. And crying for food in a time when the city is raising rents and stripping services to militarize itself while many in power demonize the poor, the murderer gets protected with passive headlines plus no charges. It's disgusting. Can I point out that New York has been entirely Democratic governed for the last decade? That Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez is a congressperson in this area? By the way, there are plenty of resources available for people who need a meal. There are homeless shelters in the city of New York. There's a person who is apparently a longtime drug addict, a person who is psychotically living on the streets, and it's New York government that has decided to allow this to happen. Why do you think the subway ridership has remained wildly down even after COVID? Mainly it's because people are afraid of being hit with a samurai sword or pushed onto the tracks by people like Jordan Neely. That is the reason why people are not riding the subways in New York City anymore. I know, I have lots of friends in New York City. So AOC sounded off, of course, because, again, they have to have the George Floyd narrative. The George Floyd narrative allows for them to play this inside-outside game with the federal government and with the state government, where they protest from the outside, they find friendly legislators to then drop very progressive policies in the name of racial equity. That's the inside-outside protest game that gets played here.
What is going on inside their head?
Ayanna Pressley did the same thing. Ayanna Pressley, she's the adjunct member of the squad. She's the Ringo Starr of the congressional squad. She tweeted out that same video of Jordan Neely dancing dressed up as Michael Jackson. And she tweeted, he was 30 years old. Black men deserve to grow old, not be lynched on a subway because they were having a mental health crisis. Jordan deserved better. Accountability now. Lynched. It's now lynching. So the black guy who's holding down his arms, is he also involved in the lynching? And also, do any of the other citizens of New York City have rights? Or is it their obligation to be physically assaulted, abused, screamed at on the subways without any intervention? Because, by the way, I will point out here that if the cops had done the exact same thing, it's not as though Ayanna Pressley and AOC would sound off any differently. In fact, it would be louder. They'd say, look at these official sources cracking down on the innocent black man. Brad Lander, New York City comptroller, he tweeted out something similar. He tweeted out, New York City is not Gotham. We must not become a city where a mentally ill human being can be choked to death by a vigilante without consequence, or where the killer is justified and cheered. That is a New York City comptroller. Well, as the New York City comptroller, if you would wish for that not to happen, you could let the cops do their job. You know when this wasn't happening? Under Rudy Giuliani when he was mayor. You know when this also wasn't happening? When Michael Bloomberg was mayor. You know when it is happening? Post Bill de Blasio, post Eric Adams, post the wild left-wing turn of the city. The reason Rudy Giuliani became mayor in the first place is because this used to be how the subways were in the 1970s and 80s. Jabari Brisport is a New York State Senator, District 25, and he also is using the similar language. Quote, Jordan Neely was lynched. He had no food, no water, no safe place to rest. He had the audacity to publicly yell about that massive injustice, so they killed him. Oh, it was the yelling about the injustice is why, and not the threatening of the fellow passengers, not the fact that this person was, again, psychotically violent and had an outstanding arrest warrant that had not been filled because there are not enough cops in New York City and they haven't been given the actual ability to do their jobs. They're going to use the language of lynching. They're going to pretend that this is the exact same thing as like Emmett Till. Because again, they need the narrative. The narrative is necessary because they can't run based on their governance. Their governance in New York, they're the ones in charge of the system. And so now they're going to try to morph this into Bull Connor in Birmingham, Alabama, 1965. It just demonstrates, once again, the facts do not matter to a group of people who actively wish for there to be protests, who actively wish for there to be race riots, who actively wish to make race relations in the United States worse. This is an ugly situation. It's a complex situation. But pretending that it is predominantly about racial discrimination and not about failures of law enforcement, failures, by the way, of the mental health system. If this person was legitimately mentally ill, why was he allowed to live on the street for presumably a decade? Why? Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show is continuing right now. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be talking with Yael Eckstein, president and CEO of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, about the 75th anniversary of Israel's birth and also the great work that the IFCJ is doing. Become a member. Use code Shapiro. Check out for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click that link in the description and join us.